and I'll never back down. In the middle of the ring is where I lay the smack down. Against all odds, I will always prevail. So when you step to me, it's like hell in a cell.
Greetings and salutations, this is Christopher Daniels. I'm talking to my main man Delzinski right now. Any video game show, any video game channel, any YouTube channel called Vintage Shizzle is indeed hashtag Daniels approved.
Yo, alright guys, Delzinski here. Welcome to another We Talk. It's We Talk Wednesday. As per usual, I am joined by Weeds.
You alright, mate? How's it going?
I'm very good. How are you?
I am very well. Pumped up for another We Talk.
Yep. And we've got a special guest with us today as well. We have got SmackTalks with us. Paul, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very, very good. Recovering still from Sting at Survivor Series. I was very excited about that, gotta admit. But
Still in shock. Thought he'd never turn up.
I'm not in shock. I kind of thought it was coming, but it was...
Still drunk then?
Oh, yeah, possibly. I might have thought I was hallucinating for a minute, but yeah, he definitely was there. So, I mean, on this week's We Talk, we're going to be talking the full Survivor Series card. So we're going to go through the matches, what we thought was good, what we thought was bad, and what we thought was ugly. And then we're going to talk about a bit of Raw as well, which I thought was a bit of a snooze fest, but we'll get to that later on. So, Weeds, do you want to talk us through Survivor Series? Do you want to break down the card a little bit?
Well, yeah, obviously it was arguably a little bit thrown together last week or so. We still had teams, I think, being sorted out a week before on Raw. Well, it started off with a tag team match, which was the Fatal 4-Way. What did you think of this one?
Well, I when we predicted this before, I'd actually gone for a Goldust and Stardust retaining the belts, which I was completely wrong. But I was wrong for very good reasons, because it was actually The Miz and Damien Mizdow picking up the belts, which I was highly excited about because I love Mizdow. Although you're getting bored with it. Paul, what do you think of their gimmick? Do you like it still, or is it getting a bit stale?
I like it. I think it is pretty good. I'd originally thought, like you just said, that they would probably retain the titles, so I didn't think they'd win the titles, but usually they'll sort of make it look like that new team that's sort of getting over and really popular could win it, but they don't go through with it, so I was pretty surprised that they went through. But I quite like the idea of Mizdow and being tag team champions. I think, yeah, run with it.
I sort of thought, the only thing I sort of thought was it was going to be a bit like the Real Americans, when, you know, we always thought that they were going to pick up the belts and it just never really came to anything. And I thought with Mizdow, they like you said, they'd play on it a bit, but no, got the belt straight away. And I'm more than happy with that, although now I'll probably pass you over to some misery, as Weeds is going to probably tell me that I'm completely wrong.
No, I was going to say, I think out of the three of us, I'm probably going to come over as the most pessimistic out of this Survivor Series card. But don't get me wrong, I'm going to say that I did enjoy the main event. But yeah, the tag team, I like all of these tag teams. I don't know what you guys think, but I just think I've seen these tag teams so often recently, and I think they kind of got mashed into some kind of Fatal 4-Way. I used to just like it, you know, when they actually built these teams up and they had some, you know, good history. But that seems to be the thing with WWE at the moment, is that you get quite a good lot of action in the ring, and obviously you had all the separate teams hitting their spots at some point during this match. But it feels like they just get that in for the sake of doing it. It doesn't really progress these teams perhaps as much as they should. And that's where I kind of was wondering about Mizdow, is because I think the question I've been asking on previous We Talks is are the WWE simply reacting to stuff just because they think, oh, there's a bit of an audience buzz there, but they don't really know where they want it to go. They know that there's something happening there, but they don't really know what it is. And in the mix of that, you've just got these other six individuals on the three teams that happen to be there.
Yeah, I thought for a little while that they were going to obviously do the old Miz turning on Mizdow, but then can't be planning to do that very soon if they're picking up the belts. So it only adds a bit more fuel to the fire when they do split up. But I totally get what you're saying in terms of no real major storyline build up between tag teams, but they haven't got a tag team division, really. They haven't got enough tag teams coming through. I think the only one that they're going to have coming through soon is the Ascension. So whether they bring them up and have them crush Miz and Mizdow, but
unless obviously a New Day ever make their way to Raw, they've been coming long enough.
Oh yeah, I forgot about them. I mean, how do you think this tag team are going to play out? Do you think they're going to keep the belts for long, Paul? Do you think they're going to have a good reign, or is it just going to be one of those things like we said, where it's just simple reaction to the crowd to give them the belts?
Yeah, I think it's more of a reaction sort of title win that they've got. So I think they're probably going to play it off the crowd and see how long it sort of lasts, and then eventually I can see them turning on each other. But I think that's a good way to kind of put Sandow over, because the Miz, him working with Sandow, it kind of raises his game as well, raises Sandow's and puts him up a little bit. Because he kind of, when he got the Money in the Bank, I thought he had potential, and I really liked the match that he had with Cena. I thought that was a great match, but then after that he kind of just completely dropped altogether. So this has kind of really reignited him for me. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm glad that he got paired up with the Miz, because it felt like he was in that downward spiral and he was never coming back up. It was just going to be a laughing stock, although he is kind of a bit of a laughing gimmick at the moment still. He's actually got a bit of credibility, and putting a belt on him gives him that back as well. So I think it's good, and I love the way that it's the boos and the cheers every time they lift the belts, and I even like it the fact that, I know it's fast forwarding a bit to Raw, that the Miz has the belts and Mizdow has the replica belts. I think that works brilliantly.
Yeah, I really like that.
No, I think they're good, and like you say, with the heel and the face reaction that they've got, I mean, that was the best bit of the whole thing, and I suppose that's my only issue I have, Mr. Pessimistic here. I kind of forgot the other teams were in there because I was so busy waiting for Mizdow to get a tag.
Oh, that is so annoying when they teased to tag him in, and then he did get tagged in, and he got tagged straight back out.
That was hilarious.
But it was good. It was good. It was entertaining, and that was what I liked about the start-off match. But it always is when they have those sort of like tag team scramble matches and stuff like that. It's always entertaining to kick off a show. But then moving on to the next match, I don't really know if this was entertaining at all. Was it?
It was long. Really long.
The Divas elimination match. It ran for about 15 minutes, would you say?
Somehow.
Yeah, around 15.
And is it possibly one of the worst elimination matches we've ever seen? And what did it really do for the heel Divas team? I mean, what did it do for Paige? Did absolutely nothing.
Well, she seemed to get quite pissed off, for want of a better phrase, throughout the whole of it. I mean, I'm sure there are some people that really love this match out there, and there was lots going on the whole time, really. But I suppose you've got the two distinctions between the Divas here. You've got those that can wrestle and wrestle really well, and you've got the total Divas, I suppose. And somewhere along the line on this card, you had Bray and Nikki. But I'm sure we'll come on to them later. And that was the problem. This really exposed them. I didn't really get what it did for anyone really on either side. Especially all I got from this match was Paige is annoyed. She's pissed off. She's not happy. She's having to go at her team the whole way through. And then ultimately she's taken out by 4-1, I think it was at the end.
I thought she was going to get at least one pinfall out of it. I thought she was going to or mount a bit of a comeback. No, clearly wrong. When I watched it live, I was like, is she going to actually, overturn them all? And then it, boost Paige even more? But nah. I mean, what did you think, Paul, about it in general? Do you think that was good that they just completely destroyed the heel team, or?
Not really. I didn't really think it made too much sense. I thought, like you've just said there, I thought Paige, when I was watching it, she'd come back into it and maybe not go all the way like Dolph Ziggler, but at least get a couple of eliminations just to put her over as being sort of that top talent. But the way that went down, it didn't make a lot of sense. And with Paige sort of saying sort of in the last few weeks that she didn't need friends and things, I thought maybe they could go with something like the rest of our team sort of give up on her or something like that. But the way that went down, I just didn't really get into it too much.
Yeah, there was just nothing to get into. It was just when I watched when I was watching it, I just sort of sat there and thought, is that it? And then when she got like knocked out, I just sort of thought, oh, so she's not going to mount a comeback at all, and there really was no point in this. I mean, it doesn't really do anything either, storyline wise. It doesn't push anything forward. It was just pointless.
Well, I think it sounds like we're all here scratching our heads, Paul, aren't we?
Yeah, I think it was just a way to get them all on the card, and that was pretty much all they were there for.
It was a payday then. That's what it was. That's all.
15 minutes. 15 minutes. Wyatt and Ambrose only went about 14, 15 minutes. 15 minutes.
I don't know. So, I mean, it's safe to say from my point of view, this was the worst match on the card. But someone might actually go for another one now. I'm looking at the card again.
Well, there is an impromptu one later, but I'm going to be completely honest. When we come on to Adam Rose and the fricking bunny, I'm going to sit here arms crossed. I'm not talking about it.
Oh, amazing! So you'll be stunned to silence. Wow.
Yeah, well, it's only taken 18 months.
So next match. I mean, let's pick it up and let's talk about something that was quite entertaining. Bray Wyatt versus Dean Ambrose. Now, it was good, I thought. My first impressions was the match was good. But I'm going to say it was really cheap to plug TLC almost immediately in the aftermath of the match. I mean, and I said going into this match that I felt that Bray Wyatt couldn't afford to have another loss. And I actually think that the way that this match ended was almost worse than no loss, because in terms of he got completely buried and literally did get buried under tables, chairs, and then the ladder in the ring. But it just I just thought towards the end again it didn't do an awful lot for Bray Wyatt and his credibility. I had a massive argument on Twitter with someone as well about Bray Wyatt during the night. He was saying to me that Bray Wyatt is the most useless guy on the roster in terms of having a push and letting them down. And I was like, it's nothing to do with Bray. I thought it was to do with bad booking. So yeah, that took up most of my time during this match as well, trying to justify that I like Bray Wyatt. But yeah, I just didn't get the ending. I thought it made him look weak again, even though it's meant to build to a storyline. So I don't know what you guys think. I mean, who wants to go first?
Mr. Pessimist will take a step back on this one. I've probably got a lot to say.
I don't know. I think it was probably classed as a sort of teaser. It wasn't really a proper match to me. I think it was just a case of trying to promote TLC and say, look, the network's free this month. This is what you could see next month, but obviously you're going to have to pay for that. So yeah, there wasn't really much to it. I didn't really like the fact that this is like the second time now that Wyatt sort of brought the chair in there and he sort of just stood back and let him sort of lose the match by trying to get the other person to use that chair. So I thought that was a pretty cheap win. I didn't like to see that. But I think, like I've just said, it's a case of trying to build it for the next one. They've got to keep something for TLC because a lot of the things, they don't seem to know where they're going with it. So at least they've got something planned for next month.
What did you guys think of the promo halfway through where he pulled out the mic?
I quite like that. Yeah. It was something different. It's something that I haven't seen for a while.
It felt like it was going to be, for me, it felt like it was, suddenly you're going to get, we're not getting anything done here, are we, Ambrose? Let's make this no DQ or something. I was expecting something like that to come, and like a revolutionary kind of thing, like we're going to change what this is halfway through the match or something. But when it just got a bit weird, I thought he was going to burst into tears.
I don't know. In general, the match was a little bit strange, and that's what I mean about the finish. It just felt a little bit over the top, even though it is promoting the next pay-per-view or it's promoting TLC. It was a little bit over dramatic to literally bury him. Like that was the word. The word is perfect for it. It was a burial, and I just think every time with Wyatt, it just feels like they can't seem to get this right with this guy, and he's a guy that they should be making one of their focus pieces. And like I say, I get these negative people that come on Twitter and argue with me about Bray Wyatt, and I think that's probably why, because every time he seems to move a little bit forward, like he gets all these epic promos, then he goes like 5 paces back by getting something stupid done to him at an event, at a pay-per-view, a loss. I mean, he just doesn't seem to have that much good luck.
No, definitely. I think what would have worked for me, and what I would have maybe have liked to see for a finish, was one, I would have liked to see Ambrose actually do something with that ladder other than climb it. I thought,
Yeah,
if,
that
even
was
if
rubbish.
stack him up on tables. I mean, he's been rocking that kind of elbow into standing opponent at the moment. Even if you did something along those lines, and they both, they stepped it up and they crash out, and you could have a no contest that way, a legitimate no contest where these guys come off the top of a ladder, go through all these tables and there's chairs around them and all this kind of stuff, and they can't get up because they're too busy absolutely beating the piss out of each other. But just to do that and then throw some chairs on, then he kind of thought, well, I'll get the ladder out, I'll climb up it, and that's enough. I felt like he was gauging it, because you actually had the crowd, even though it was like Paul said, a bit of a cheap finish again with the chair gimmick. It kind of felt like the crowd was still really into it after that had actually happened, and I think, like we probably were at home, I was expecting something to happen with this ladder, not just to go, yeah, I get it, it's tables, it's ladders, and it's chairs, and that is the next pay-per-view. And I got where it was going a long time ago, and I suppose the question I've got is that how the WWE works now for you guys? I mean, I don't think, for me, the traditional pay-per-view exists, and it's probably a subject for another wee talk on another day, but it seems like you simply need to be subbed to the network to be able to see all this content, and yet they don't have the Raw and SmackDown shows on the network. If you make so, it's all, I think, like Paul said, all over the place, not just in terms of booking, but how they actually display some of this content as well, because it feels like you just got to be subscribed to get the most of it most of the time.
I thought he was going to jump from the ladder. I thought that would have been really good.
He should have jumped from the ladder.
and when he didn't, I was, like you say, just left a bit disappointed. It kind of all reminded me of when was it Cena had the last man standing match with Bray, and he locked him in, so he couldn't get up. It felt like that. It just felt, I don't know,
there's just so many. I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but I just think I think we've spoken about direction before on this, and the lack of it with WWE. It seems like from Cena all the way down, they seem scared to make a decision. Like, we're going to book Bray Wyatt. This is going to be Bray's match, and I get they want to build to the next pay-per-view, but it feels like every match has got to be, or every feud's got to be, a best of 3 series, if you know what I mean. It's just like, make a decision. We're going to go with Wyatt on this one. We're not just going to keep trying to book them both so they don't hurt either one or the other, because doing that, they essentially, for me, hurt both of them.
Yeah, I mean, Paul, what do you think is going on with Bray at the moment in general? Like, because I said in last week's We Talk that I think Rowan and Harper are almost, overtaking him. They're in the main event picture, and they're looking pretty good. Harper particularly looks good. Rowan a bit nuts, but what do you think's going on?
It's got some fancy new music.
I know. Yeah, I know. I'll talk about that later. That was funny as. But what's going on with Bray? I mean, it's just I don't know. I think he should be doing better than what he is.
Yeah, he seems to be in a funny position at the moment. I think it was right for them to take him off TV because he had sort of dropped a little. And then when he come back at Hell in a Cell, I thought maybe this is like the start of what will be a big push for him. Mm-hmm. So I think it really depends on how this feud with Ambrose goes. And I think they're both so good on the mic that this could work really well for them. I think it's like Bray, when he last had this feud with Chris Jericho, I thought those two would work really well together, and that their mic work would be stellar and really push the two of them up. But I think this is one that I'm more looking forward to now with Ambrose, because I think it's, with TLC coming up and being able to get into that sort of hardcore match type feel, then I think they can really go for it at this next pay-per-view, really push themselves. And then depending on that, I think that's whether we'll see Bray get a push up the card. But at the same time, you've got Ambrose, you've got Rollins, you've got so many people that they could push and that should be pushed. But then you've already got the problem of John Cena again, because they're still unwilling to drop him down. Like, exactly. Even Team Cena, in the end it wasn't. It was Team Ziggler, but they're scared to drop him in because of that. It's hurting all this young talent.
Well, I know the perfect way to get rid of Cena now, because you just book him with the Big Show. Because it's perfect. He's crying out to book him with the Big Show. That gets rid of him for a little while. I mean, hopefully they both knock each other out and we don't see him for a while. But,
I was going to say another thing about the Wyatt Ambrose match, though, that the commentary towards the end of it, I was scratching my head. So you got JBL, a bit like me on We Talk, would not shut up. And
you said it.
and I'm sitting there thinking, right, Ambrose is the face, yes, and Wyatt is the heel, and yet he sat there for 5 minutes at the end, and I get that he was lobbing chairs at him, but he's sat there saying this is the most outrageous thing, and he's just like, well, you're painting him out to be a complete heel, and I don't know if that's what we're trying to do here, and it just kind of felt like these outrageous actions that Ambrose is doing. It was odd for me again. It wasn't the only odd bit of commentary, I suppose, on Survivor Series and Raw in the last few days.
Yeah, but Weeds, you know by now that the commentary team talk utter rubbish. You should know by now to not take them seriously at all.
They helped, like with the Bray angle. They kind of made it make a little bit of sense later on. I just did not understand what the hell they were doing. JBL in particular, just riding Ambrose down completely at the end of it. I get confused. Am I ranting?
Yeah, you've already started to. Best reel you in just a little bit. I thought this pay-per-view was crying out for a JR on commentary, because in the main event, who would have sold the main event? JR would have made it awesome, but we'll touch on that later. But the commentary team, again, I don't think sell it that well.
I think they did okay there. I think they did okay. Better than they normally do.
Yeah, but it's just not the same without good old JR. So, I mean...
Well, we're back.
Yeah, so, I mean, Wyatt Ambrose build into something, hopefully going to get good at TLC. Wyatt rocked up again on Raw, so he's not done and dusted just yet. So yeah, it's going to build something. It's going to be good. And now we're going to move on to the Divas Championship match. I don't know. You thought this was good, didn't you? Did you think this was good, Weed?
It wasn't long.
All I'm saying is, what the hell is going on with Bray in general? Like, I don't actually understand her gimmick now, because is she a heel? Is she a face? Is she the Big Show? I mean, because that's what the Big Show gets used to doing, tossing and turning. But
he's a spirograph.
I can't understand where she's going, because is this all going to lead to something where she stabs Nikki in the back and actually picks up the belt herself, or is she just, relishing that she's now back with her sister and she actually quite likes things again? But it doesn't make any sense in relation to Daniel Bryan and the whole authority stuff that's gone down over the last few months. Again, storyline consistency just seems a bit all over the place. I was kind of shocked by the way the match actually went. I didn't see that coming at all, and when it did happen, I was like, wow, it's all right. But
was it the last authority slap in the face to Daniel Bryan?
Well, yeah. That's what I mean, though. It's almost like that's been forgotten. That whole thing with Stephanie. I mean, Brie didn't even show up to say goodbye to Triple H and Stephanie on Raw. So it's almost like that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
That's not like the WWE to forget something halfway through, is it?
No, not at all. I mean, Paul,
I haven't got a clue what's going on with Brie. You ask me.
What do you think? I mean, where do you stand on it?
I don't know. I think I was looking forward to Elle's take on this, because I have no idea what's going on with Brie. I thought maybe it's a case of she's just playing Nikki and she wants that Divas title shot eventually, so she'll turn on her. So obviously it would benefit her to get Nikki the title. But the way that they went about it, I don't know. That's something I really didn't see coming. I thought there was a lot of rumours about AJ beforehand saying that could be the last time we'll see her and she'd be taking time off. And I think when that happened, I thought maybe that was a goodbye kiss. But it doesn't look like it turned out that way with her being on Raw, so it looks like they're going to stick with it. But as for being heel or face, I don't know. It looks like she's kind of turned heel, but could just be an act. But it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and that was the bit on, I think, fast forwarding a bit again to Raw, she's almost like relishing this role now. It's like she's happy to be a heel. There's no sort of indication that she's trying to play Nikki Bella now. It's not, or is this just like elaborate and really clever of her to do it? But I don't know. to me, it just felt a little bit too soon for her to already turn and be a heel and happy being with Nikki after Nikki almost humiliated her, beat the crap out of her for a few weeks. Stephanie's humiliated her. She seems to have forgot all of that, and you know, then given her sister the belt. Although Nikki Bella's doing all right, to be honest.
It's only been 30 days. It wasn't even that. It was about 26, I think, that she was her assistant for. I don't think she told up to waterboarding or anything like that.
Just that's what I mean. It's too soon. It's too soon. But I think Nikki Bella makes a good heel. I think she's done pretty well in her push.
I think she's come on quite a lot. She's really improved, especially the mic work and things. I've never been a big fan of either Bella, but I think they've both come on a little bit.
I'm not sure about Bray. Something right about
yeah, Bray tends to shout a lot of her like last words and things, but compared to where they were, I think like there's big improvements. There's still a long way to go, but
Cena's been giving those promo lessons, has he?
Yeah, special lessons.
Never give up, Brie. Never give up. Sorry, I had to get that in there. But yeah, you know, I don't know.
I think it's amazing that we've actually managed to probably talk about 5 or 6 times the length that the match actually lasted.
It had to be done. I'm
not calling it a match.
I'm not going to lie. I thought the kiss was pretty good, but apart from that, so anyway, we got a new.
We're just staring at the belts.
Staring at lots of things, but there you go. So let's move on to your favourite match of the evening, Weeds. I don't get why you got such an issue with this one. Adam Rose and the Bunny versus Hurrah Slater Gator. I mean, what? You know,
I'm done with the Bunny. I'm done with the Bunny.
You do know it's Justin Gabriel now, don't you?
Oh, I don't care.
What?
It's just so random. It's just so random to put in there. I mean, it was booked, about an hour into the pay-per-view? I'm not calling it a pay-per-view, so I still don't think it's a pay-per-view.
Didn't you like that backstage segment?
Remind me.
Oh, that's
how
rude.
I think I must have gone and got a beer or something from the fridge.
How dare you.
Am I not giving the Bunny the appropriate amount of respect?
I think you should show him some respect, to be honest. He's doing well. He's getting a bigger push than half the roster at the moment. So
yeah, he did well. I did like how Adam Rose just stood there with his hand left out for what felt like about 20 minutes at the end.
The only thing I'd say about this is I kind of like what they're doing with Adam Rose, that they're trying to get him into a better position in terms of his character and making him into a heel. Because I mean, he was completely lost when he was a face. No one really got it, and at least with him being a heel, it makes more sense. He has a bit of a mean streak to him, and it gives him a bit more purpose. And you'd think that you could put him in a feud with somebody, and he could actually get something out of it. Whereas I feel when he's a face, everyone just thought it was a laughing stock. A bit like them rebranding someone like a Fandango. Adam Rose is doing that, but in a much more of a slow burner.
I was going to say, the Bunny's getting a more of a push than Dolph Ziggler did in 4 years.
Oh, you're so rude.
Ooh. How bitchy am I?
I mean, are you going to rant?
I'm not going to rant. I said I wouldn't rant.
I'm pretty sure, Paul, you probably think just the same as what we think in terms of the Bunny gimmick in general. They could be pushing more talent than pushing this Bunny, but what do you think?
Yeah, I've said this a lot so far, but I still have no idea what's going on. Not with this one as well. It's so much of the booking, like every other thing. You kind of tell where they're going with it. Because there were so many times when I thought the Bunny might be Darren Young, and that would sort of explain why Titus was in there as well. And then it looked like it could be Sami Zayn, and with them sort of getting more of that reaction now than Rose, maybe it still could be Zayn, because I think they might have had like a tag team in NXT recently or something for the tag belts. So that might make some sense, get Sami on the main roster. But apart from that,
I was going to say, I'll tell you why I think you're wrong, because you're already making far too much sense.
Exactly, that's it, isn't it?
I was going to say, the only thing with if that was Sami Zayn, what does that sort of do for his character? Do you know what I mean?
Well, it puts him across as, a fun guy, so it gets him on the roster. That's pretty much it. That's all it's going to do.
He's a fun guy. I did notice on the notes that you made, Weeds, that you did put in here, refuse to cover this Exclamation mark.
Exclamation mark. Boom.
How
Yeah, I
dare
told
you?
you I would.
I mean, yeah.
I meant Slater Gator. Obviously, I'm happy to talk money all day long, as I have on numerous Wii Talks.
I mean, yeah, it's a bit stupid. In general, they should be pushing talent as opposed to a freaking bunny. But I think we all know by now that none of us can call WWE's booking in the slightest.
It's not as stupid, as putting them in an interspecies match, I think, as JBL called it, the next night on Raw, and then having one of the competitors never even enter the ring for more than 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's just a stunned silence. It's just a stunned silence. Okay, so...
No holds barred. You know me.
So you refused to cover this, but we did, and we did cover it. And so far, everyone, let us know via the comments box below your views up to the main event. And now we are going to cover the main event. So the main event, probably the longest build, I think, in terms of, Survivor Series. It was just such a huge build to just this one match. This is what it was all about. It was for all the marbles, albeit that we said last week Triple H couldn't even be asked to lace up his boots for this match, which made utter no sense whatsoever. And the other thing as well, in this match, just before we talk about the match in general, when Rusev gets knocked out of the ring, why doesn't Triple H pick him up and put him in the ring? He's a big fella.
He does. He has minions for that. J&J Security.
They can't lift anybody. Those two trying to lift him in, and Triple H just go, come on, get him in the ring. I'm thinking, help them. Hunter.
I did like his various stages of flipping out throughout the night, which was quite entertaining. It all started obviously with the tie being loosened and eventually descending into him showing exactly why you never wear a grey tight shirt.
I thought it was brilliant that to kick off this match we had the Big Show baby going up against the world's strongest Santa. I thought if you wanted two people to defend your teams, these are your two guys. I mean, that is what I found so funny. And then he just gets knocked out completely, boom, just like that. It was just overall, I thought the match was really good because I did not see it coming at all. That the way they booked this match was kind of crazy because
we haven't had back and forth like this for a long time.
I mean, my general first thought of this match was that Cena would be the sole survivor. So
yeah,
for that not to happen is a delight in itself.
No one told the Big Show baby, did they?
And, well, the Big Show is just ridiculous. I mean, how many times can a guy turn heel or face? It's embarrassing, let's be honest.
Well, I'll be completely honest. At least they've got him on the right track this time because him being a baby face is just pointless.
Yeah, but he's coming around Christmas.
Well, I'm going to say I'm sure they've got someone else. Maybe they can make Rusev Santa this year.
No, he's the bad man.
For me, Show has never, ever, 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 ever worked as a babyface. You cannot have sympathy for this man whatsoever. He's the man that talked about the ironclad contract that he had that was never going to expire.
Oh yeah.
He's the man that screwed Daniel Bryan out the championship not a year ago. How can you even? I hate him.
I just can't believe how much he chop and changes. I mean, you were shocked though, weren't you? Did you see it coming? The punch.
Did I see it coming? Yeah, you had to get John Cena to get up.
Oh yeah, he did keep looking at him. Come on, John. Come on. I'm gonna punch you in a minute. But I didn't see that coming. I didn't see him knocking him out. And when he did, like I said, I was just very happy because I thought, thank God Cena's gone, and it leaves someone else to maybe have the limelight for a main event for once. And thank God it was Ziggler that got it.
Well, I kind of thought that this turn might have been what Sheamus was going to do, because as I think we are all aware, there is a distinct lack of heels in the WWE at the moment. So I thought maybe putting Sheamus back in that group and him being the one that turned, and it sounds like, for me, maybe the injury changed that. Maybe they never wanted to do it, and obviously, as I've already said, Big Show's got more turns than the spirograph on him. I think it makes sense for me to be heel, but
it does. But do you really care? Are you bothered? Do you want him to be in the main event or anywhere near? I don't even want him on the roster anymore. I'm so bored of the Big Show.
There was quite a few I didn't want in this main event.
That's my biggest issue, is that, again, a guy like this who is so up and down like a yo-yo and has lost all his credibility whatsoever. I mean, it's just, can we say bye now? Can you just take a back seat for once and let some other guys have the limelight? Albeit that Ziggler got the limelight with Rollins in the main event, being the last two. It's
the only thing I do with Show at the moment is, instead of having, I quite like J&J Security, so I'm not going to. But if I didn't have them, I would make him, like Rollins enforcer, because he's limited, arguably, with what you can do with him as a wrestler. I mean, he moves a lot more than Andre the Giant did. But yeah, he's never been a stellar performer, and you either book him like an Andre the Giant, or you can't have him flip-flopping as much as you do, because he's become a joke.
Are you trying?
Yeah, I think I agree with that as well. I'd rather him be an enforcer, where he's sort of using that power and his size and things, and it works for him. But his matches that he's had, especially when you've got two big guys like Big Show and Mark Henry, I think it's a really slow match, and it kind of just, you can't really get into it like you can other matches. So I think an enforcer role is something that would really benefit Big Show.
They can't pick up the pace, can they? They can't do it. So
yeah, well, that's the thing with that matches. You'll have a change of pace. You'll have it nice and slow, and then it'll pick up pace. It'll get fast, and you'll get into it. But Big Show's matches are all sort of the same sort of pace, and there's no real change to it.
So what you're kind of saying is that they should be taking a tip from TNA and have someone like what Brodus Clay is doing in TNA, being Ethan Carter's bodyguard. That's what you're saying to do with the Big Show. So why couldn't WWE have just done this with Brodus Clay?
I'm sure they took that from Shawn and Diesel.
Yeah.
You were going to get something, but we got a guest on the show this week, so I will retain my language this week.
But I thought, for me, it was the cracking way to start. Because I did not want to watch, Big Show and Mark Henry go at it for 5 minutes of wrist locks and whatever was going to happen. So I thought the way that Triple H charged Mark Henry up, and he was ultimately his undoing. He sent him straight into a weapon of mass destruction, that right hand, and he was down. And I thought it was a great way to start. It got the crowd up. Either they didn't think they had to watch that for that long, or they were just happy that it was a good way to start the match.
What do you think he was saying to him in the corner? What do you think he was trying to gear him up? Was he saying, you're not going to be Santa this year if you don't go and beat him? What do you think he was saying to him? I don't know.
It's just a continued chant of sexual chocolate. Hear it again.
We'll bring it back. We'll bring it back as a gimmick. He's like, no. I thought it was a good start. Do you want to know what the most ridiculous bit of this whole match was? Survivor Series got a lot of ridiculousness, but Ryback. I mean, WWE made this guy sound like he was the most important piece of the puzzle. He was the go-to guy. He was the big guy. He was the guy that everybody wanted, and he got eliminated second. And I thought it was terrible. I thought, so hold on a minute. Ryback's not even going to get, near the final section of this match. I mean, it felt like a waste of time, all that build up for him. And I mean, I know on Raw it's kind of carried over that he's continued his push, but that was just, I don't know. If I was Ryback, I'd be very disappointed that they spent that time pushing me, only to then have me go down. And he didn't make that big an impact in the match anyway. I mean, what do you guys think of Ryback? Do you think he warrants this push that he's got? And do you think that at Survivor Series it was actually any good what he did? Because I kind of thought it was a waste of time.
I'll let Paul go first on this one.
Yeah, well, like Ryback, as a fellow keyboard warrior, I think it's all talk. There's nothing there. They're not going to give him that push. I think that kind of showed at Survivor Series. I thought they were going to. The way that they built him up, that was exactly what he needed. And if he was the guy that was going to win it for them, I think that would have really worked. But the way that he got eliminated first on the team, then it kind of just undone the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I think that's what we were talking about this before, and we said they, even in one Raw, I think it was either the one before, the week before that, it literally, the segments you could watch it was like a yo-yo. going up and down with what they were doing with Ryback on that particular night. And it just seemed like the yo-yo was obviously down on this night, because it didn't make any sense. I thought when he came out against Rusev, that actually looked like it might be, that could go somewhere for me. But then we go on Raw the next night and he's, you know, spraying mustard all over Kane, which I assume is leading into TLC.
I just really don't like his promo work. I just think he sounds so awkward.
Stupid.
Everything about him's kind of awkward. It's but you're right in terms of the push. That this was his moment. I thought if he'd been made the sole survivor and that he had pulled Team Cena's team through, or maybe if he'd even stabbed him in the back, if he'd been the guy to stick it to Cena, that would have been maybe a bit more worthwhile. I mean, there was a couple of options to make him, you know, elevate himself even more, and they didn't go for anything. Yeah, but he came in like, and when he started taking on Rusev, I sort of thought to myself, yeah, this is pretty good. I quite like this, but then it just came to nothing. Again, poor old Ryback. I mean, he'll be deleting all his tweets soon because he'd just be pissed off again. So.
He's got to build the keyboard, I'm sure, first.
You haven't done that yet, Paul. When do you do that? When do you clear out all your tweets with the keyboard boringness? You know,
I just keep them there. I stand by what I say. When I'm done, I'm done.
you definitely are that.
Ryback, take note. Ryback, take note.
I mean, obviously we got. Well, you predicted it, didn't you, Weeds? This is what you wanted.
The final two.
Yeah,
I said in my dream scenario that a Ziggler Rollins final two, and I'd be happy. So the pessimist, which I think might be, I think you might have to rename me from the professor to the pessimist, Weeds, was happy. He sat there quite content for the last 20-25 minutes of Survivor Series. I really liked the back and forth, and I was hoping deep down that they would do Ziggler and Rollins. I didn't actually think that Ziggler would be able to come back and actually win it. I had heard that there was indications that somebody was going to rock up, and I kind of thought, well, if it does happen, that will have a major factor to play. But I didn't really think that Ziggler would, because Ziggler just looked awesome in this match. The way he was kicking out of things, the zigzags that he was hitting. I was going to say 2 count not out. That was Ziggler. I mean, I've never seen so many kickouts from a 2 count. He was amazing.
And did it not make you guys think that what an amazing feud that could be in the future? Hopefully, it could be a feud where maybe Rollins cashes in, picks up the belt, and then we do get a Rollins Ziggler feud for the title. Because for me, that would be awesome. I'd really like to see that.
That'd be a great option to go with, yeah.
I think there was someone, I can't remember who said it, it might have been Jim Ross on one of his blogs. He said you essentially got a glimpse of what the future for WWE is there. And if that's it, I will happily watch that. If we are stuck, and this is the equivalent of 1995, and we got 96, 97, 98 just around the corner, I can put up with this for the time being if I know that's coming. You know what I mean?
You've kind of got to say, though, if this is the future, when is the future going to come? Because I think the future is now. I think Rollins is at a time where he should cash in and get that belt. I mean, we all forget who's sitting at home just chilling, watching this pay-per-view, probably not planning to come to Raw for another 6 to 7 weeks. Our world champion is sitting at home, casual as you like.
I mean 30-day no way?
Everybody forgets. I mean, it was... Lesnar wasn't... I don't think Lesnar even mentioned on this pay-per-view.
I'm assuming he was in the kickoff.
There's just not a lot going on with Brock Lesnar at the moment where you think that the title's even relevant anymore. It's all about authority and Cena and power struggles, and that's what I mean. I mean, these two guys, absolutely did everything they could in that match, and you think, well, they're the guys that should have the belts, maybe not Brock.
Sooner rather than later for me, and hoping we can get this kind of cleared up with TLC, where we know where we're going with Lesnar, either if not by then, it's by the Rumble, because this is silly. I think it's since he won it at SummerSlam, it's been defended once, which is ridiculous for a title that's meant to be defended 30 days, and from what I can remember, which would be WrestleMania 7 on, it's always been defended 30 days. So it's ridiculous that this has gone on. For me, as a wrestling fan, it's insulting. That's just my take on it. But
yeah, totally agree with that. I think it's going to be interesting come the next pay-per-view to see where the focus is, because they've kind of sidestepped the title picture because of the authority and who's going to get control, and now that's out of the way. Then if Lesnar doesn't come in, it's going to be pretty interesting to see what that main event's going to be and what sort of takes the focus, because I'm assuming Lesnar will be in for the Rumble, with that being one of the big 4 pay-per-views, but I don't really see him coming in next month, so I'm interested to see where they put that focus.
I suppose we'll come on to this a bit when we talk. I know we're probably only going to talk briefly about Raw, just after we've finished the main event, but there's something got to happen, and maybe it's going to be the Money in the Bank briefcase. It's going to go up on up as the main event, because I don't know what you two thought about this. Just before, I'm just going to quickly say for Cena, I didn't know if his reaction when he woke up from that punch was, "Whoa, no one told me I wasn't booked in the final 2," or it was good. But I don't know what you thought. So obviously Ziggler made some sort of an epic comeback, pinning Harper and Kane. Were we all expecting Sting?
Well, I was going to say, if you're angling towards what I think you're angling towards, could you not have brought out Brock Lesnar as well at this point to interrupt in the match?
Well, there was things you could have done here with the current roster, especially if Sting is not going to be around, which it looks like he might not be until the Royal Rumble, at least minimum. This was primed, like you say, for a Lesnar or Orton. It was in St. Louis. It made, and I'm assuming Orton was at this pay-per-view, and they took it as a decision, maybe on the night, that maybe not, let's go Sting. And I think that was the call, probably from Vince himself, which was, let's go Sting. We've got Orton here, but let's go Sting. And I would have gone with Orton personally.
Yeah, I think I really expected Orton to turn up. At the very start of the main event, they actually made a point of noting that it was Orton's hometown as well. So usually what you'll see is they'll sort of leave little indications that something's going to happen with things like that. So as soon as they said that, I thought, we're bound to see Orton run in, especially with how hot he's been with all these RKO vines. So
yeah.
I thought it's got to be some point in the match where he'll come in. And reading the rumours of Sting, I thought there's a chance, but I could see them sort of going with Orton, and maybe the Sting thing was just to kind of throw people off.
Even if you had both, and you had Orton where they're going to screw Ziggler in a kind of a semi finish, and he comes out and he sorts out whatever it is. It didn't matter. It didn't need to be him, confronting Triple H. It could have been the security, because like you're saying, Paul, he was really hot with everything going into this. So it was, for me, more important that he was involved rather than he affected the outcome. And then still do, if you want to do the Sting bit, still do the Sting bit. But it would have been nice to see Orton involved and relevant in what was, as they were saying, this is the most important thing for WWE that's happened in quite a while. Yeah,
but that was the other bit when you look at it from Lesnar's side as well. This is a massive deal to Lesnar. Who's in charge? He's the champ. He was
handpicked to take it off Cena.
So you've got to think that he would have wanted to put himself in the position in that match to try and make sure that the balance swings in the way that he wants it to. But obviously he don't give a monkeys, because I thought that they could have brought Lesnar out. He could have F5'd either Rollins or Ziggler, and then rolled one of them over. So to me, Sting was a complete shock, because I fell on the side that it could have been a Lesnar or it could have been an Orton, and I had seen the rumours about Sting, but I didn't quite believe it until I saw it. But when I did see it, I kind of marked out. I thought it was awesome. I loved every second. I got goosebumps that he was actually finally coming to the ring with some sort of purpose. He's not there to plug the network. He was there to do a job. And I like that. But then I think, fast forward, is he actually going to do anything after that? I don't know. But in the moment, at Survivor Series, it was an awesome moment.
I was going to say, not to be a pessimist, obviously.
Jesus, how much I'll tick this off how many times you've said that, yeah?
Are we a decade too late with this happening?
We are in terms of Sting's look. The one thing I would have said is WWE could have given him some hair dye.
Or it would have been better to shave his head.
Well, yeah,
But when he moved, he could move.
How awesome would that have been if he'd kind of redone his look a little bit? Because the face paint for me is always the traditional face paint. I like that face paint. I like his look, but it was the hair for me where I thought Sting really looks his age here. And there's guys that have revamped themselves. Taker, completely lost all of his hair, and it made him look a bit more credible in terms of, because he was getting older, and it made Taker look better. And I think with Sting, I just thought, in the WWE 2K15 promo, you couldn't see it, but when he came out there, I thought either he needs some hair dye or he should have chopped it all off, because he would have looked a lot more harder, a lot more hard hitting. It looked like it was the old man versus the game.
It was, and it was when he was shuffling round. And as I said, when he actually performed the Scorpion Death Drop, I mean, he went into that thing like Sting would, but it's when they were shuffling round and you can see the slightly bald patch, and you kind of think, oh man, this is an old man going round with Triple H here.
I would have liked to have seen the baseball bat. I would have liked to put him the baseball bat at the chin, but I guess we're not allowed to see that because of the PG. But
Roman Reigns can call people bitch on a pay-per-view, don't we?
I really thought we were going to see him, flip out the bat, because he used to carry the bat under the jacket, and he would have just put it to Triple H's chin or something like that. But that would have felt better. Like you said, Triple H was selling that segment really well. He looked a bit pissed off. Sting only really sort of looked like he got going when Triple H mouthed something to him, I think. And that definitely weren't PG. I think he said, "What the fuck are you looking at?" or something along those lines. Because if you lip read him, he says something that is not PG.
What the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, see what I mean. So he looked at him like that, and then Sting came back and he was like, "Fucking here."
What did you think, Paul?
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you said. I think he did look a lot dated. I think he could have the hair dye or just a sort of wet look or something would have improved it a lot more. But I'm more interested to see where it goes. And I think it is probably a little too late, but I think he's still got a couple of good matches in him.
Sorry, I was going to say, do you see this more of a run happening, and he's going to get a couple of dream matches, but maybe culminates with the Undertaker, or is this a one and done kind of thing and march towards the Hall of Fame?
I think it'll probably be a couple of dream matches. I think it depends how this first one goes. It looks like it's going to be Triple H now instead of Taker. So if we say maybe sort of WrestleMania, not next year, but the year after, sort of an end match with Taker, I think that would be sort of my dream scenario. Give him a couple of dream matches and sort of the run up to that. But I'm interested to see where they go, because I don't think Sting's the kind of person that would have signed on not knowing what was planned. So I think they must have something really good in place for him. Otherwise, I couldn't see him actually signing with the WWE. But yeah, I think it's maybe a little too late. I've only really seen him more in TNA. I've seen highlights and things in WCW, but I didn't really watch it too much at the time. So I missed out on a lot of the greats like Sting, Disco Inferno, Buff Bagwell.
They are all the greats. You just mentioned them all.
Yeah,
there is no one
I would expect to see Sting in quite a few matches, considering how often we saw him in TNA. I would expect. I think a Triple H is kind of a good litmus test to see what I suppose the WWE can still get out of him.
It's all about the current fan base. It'll bring a lot of older fans in as well. So
I think Sting can still go. I think giving him some time off to re-heal. TNA never gave him any time off. He was always in and out of the ring. So, if he's going to be used for special events, I think he'll definitely be able to put up a couple of matches. Like I say, the only thing for me is there's a couple of things with Sting that he's changed in his terms of his gimmick over the years that he's gone through those changes, getting older. And like I say, the hair's one that to me just makes him look dated. And it's the thing with the boots. Anyone notice this with the boots? He used to wear boots, and now he wears these trouser things, and I just think it makes him look stupid. I don't know why he started to go down that route. He did it in TNA, and now he's got them in WWE. And just wear ring boots. It just makes him look a bit more mean in business.
No, I know exactly what you mean. It kind of detracts, and especially I know he did it a lot in TNA towards the back end of his time there.
No T-shirts.
The T-shirt. And I assume he's got a little bit of stuff. I mean, what is he? He's early 50s. He's probably got a little bit of cardio work that he actually wants to do himself before he's ready. So I'm hoping we see this happen. This match at the Rumble. Do
you think?
Yeah, I want to see it. I
think it'll be WrestleMania.
For me, I don't think just for me personally, I'm not going to be hooked by watching these guys build this for what is nearly going to be 6 months. I would still like to see him. I think Paul said probably around 15 to 18 months, and then have him at the WrestleMania the following year. I think it will be shorter. I think we might get him at the Rumble, and then it will culminate with Taker at WrestleMania, and then straight into the Hall of Fame. That's kind of how I see it going. But I don't know. Well, we're going to find out in the next few weeks, I'm sure.
I think I agree with you. I think it could happen at the Rumble. I think if it was WrestleMania, it's kind of a little bit too early, being Survivor Series at his debut. So I could see that being the Rumble, and then see where it goes from there at WrestleMania.
That's why I kind of thought it would be Orton that came out, because then you could have done this at the Rumble and then gone on to Mania with Triple H.
It just seems a bit weird now that Triple H is going to be off TV. If Sting's also off TV, it's how do they progress that to the Royal Rumble?
Well, that's the bit that's a little bit weird, because we're going to move on to Raw. Nothing really came out of Raw in terms of Sting.
But he got a mention. That was about it.
I mean, I stayed up for Raw and wish I hadn't.
Oh, you poor bastard.
But I was really, really hoping that we were going to get to see maybe Sting on Raw, or get a bit of clarification. I thought that first segment was primed for Sting to come out and go face to face with Triple H once more, and maybe give a bit of an indication of why he did what he did. What didn't make sense about Raw was the very long starting segment. And also Vince in general. What the hell is wrong with Vince? They were apologising to Vince that they lost. Vince booked the match and put the stipulation in. If Vince didn't want that to happen, why did he book it?
Old.
I think he forgot. I
think Vince is getting old.
That was stupid in itself. It was like, don't say sorry. Don't say sorry. I don't know who I'm supposed to be there, but it just kind of sounded stupid again. And actually, the segment was quite good. The passion from Triple H, the going out on the and he'd lost, and it's time for them to leave, and you will regret this, and that you'll be begging for us to come back because no one can run it like the Authority does. It's like there ain't no party like an S Club party. It was just like that. But I mean. It was all of that, and then Daniel Bryan came out saying, "Oh, brilliant, Daniel crying, Daniel Bryan's back."
Got Ryback on the man, on the man,
and I was like, "Yes," and that was good. But then they did something that I don't like, which was actually have a superstar, run Raw. I mean, it was bad enough having Team Cena. It's bad enough having Cena calling the shots in terms of when the Authority can come back. I don't like that. I mean. Does he not have enough power already? And now we've got Daniel Bryan running a show. I mean, it's people power. Just John Laurinaitis. It's just, I don't know. Do you guys get where this is going now? Because I thought maybe Sting might have an involvement in the power side, the power struggle. He could have been someone coming in for someone else, but not like this. No.
Well, you wondered if he was going to be a GM. I suppose that was all I was expecting. I don't know if Paul was under a similar sort of fashion.
Yeah, I thought if you come in, you could sort of go down that route. I mean, we'll probably get this at the end, but you had the anonymous GM, so it could always be someone like Sting. But I could see him fitting into that role.
I thought it was you, Paul, behind the keyboard.
Well, I can't actually tell you.
I was like, no, whoever thought, are they just trying to piss people off? They got rid of one Authority and they're going to bring back another one?
Oh, but Michael Cole's little face, though. Michael Cole's face. It was a picture, wasn't it?
I think he enjoyed that.
So
yeah.
He was even.
How many times has Michael Cole turned?
Even Cena, I think, was it Cena? Or they were looking at him like, just shut up now, and he's just sitting there with his little smile on his face. Oh God!
I've got something to do.
Yeah, I thought the only thing I'd say with Sting is I thought he may be a general manager, but I wouldn't have expected him to get painted up for war paint and all that stuff to come in and be a GM. It feels like to me that that's not what his purpose is. I'd like it that his purpose was for another reason, that he's come in for somebody else to be in charge.
I think if he comes in as a GM, I think that sort of cheapens him. So I think if they keep him for these special appearances and it does lead up to matches, then I think that's a lot better way to use him rather than just have him on TV just for the sake of it as a GM or something.
It feels like they're just teasing so many matches. I mean, they're teasing Sting, Triple H. They teased Rock, Triple H a while ago. I mean, is Triple H just trying to like plan out how many matches he wants to have before he officially says, "Look, I'm done."
I don't think they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, they were like testing the water with The Rock a while ago, and now it's Sting. And
I'll tell you what, it's just as long as they don't go back to this. I think we said last week the celebrity, celebrity GMs and for the evening, because I don't know what you guys made of Larry the Cable Guy.
I didn't like it.
Do you know I'd like to be the anonymous GM?
I thought you were.
The Disco Inferno. Got to get it in every week.
No.
Disco Fever. Come on, man.
About this.
There you go. He's got 2 mentions so far.
Exactly. Paul, you wait till you see my Dashin Delzinski attire. It's a treat.
He's got Eva Marie on the back and Disco Inferno on the front.
That's if you get a contract, though.
I probably won't. Once he sees my attire. Or Bill won't like it. Bill
He'll be like, get out.
Yeah.
It felt like this Raw was, for me, it was like a goodbye to Power. And the thing that's worrying for me is how long is TLC? It's 3 weeks, isn't it? I think.
Yeah,
it's December
3 weeks. 14th of December, yeah.
It's a lot's going to happen in a very short space of time. So I think we're probably going to. Is SmackDown, I suppose, going to become relevant again a bit more than it has the last couple of years? And I assume we're going to get some matches booked out of that, because I just don't see, even when you've got a 3-hour Raw and then 2-hour SmackDown, how you can build a 3-week pay-per-view.
Yeah, it just. I thought it felt a lot like, and probably they're trying to do it that way, that it's, the Authority moving aside means it's just going to be chaos. It did feel like that, but it didn't feel like chaos for a good reason. I didn't like the whole thing of the, the Kane being the hot dog. The other thing as well, just to touch quickly, why hasn't Kane come back as the demon? For the surely if you're going to be a version of yourself for a most important match, you're going to be the sadistic version of Kane, the demon, instead of the corporate one. Again,
is this like when McMahon was trying to bring Austin back for the Alliance feud?
Yeah.
I need the Stone Cold.
No, that was the best. That was awesome though. That is wicked. Stone Cold playing the guitar, giving out hugs, wearing hats. I love that. That was so good back in the day. But yeah, it just I didn't really like the whole humiliation of the Authority guys. Yeah.
They're saying that he's been delivering some of the best lines recently, Kane. Those dry kind of yes, I will get on with him kind of. I think Kane's been good recently. He's been quite funny. I don't think he intentionally means to be funny, but he has been quite funny.
I think before we wrap it up, the only thing I would say is something we didn't really mention was Erick Rowan. I mean, what did we think of Erick Rowan?
He's got brilliant music.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's pretty much it.
I mean, do you guys? Where do you see him going? Because I quite liked it when he had the stare down with Luke Harper. I thought
it looks like he's going down the Big Show route, so that would be the end of him.
Yeah, I the whole thing with those two was very strange. How they've paired him up and sort of got him as a face. I mean, I don't know.
Well, again, I think we're going to see how that one's played out. I suppose my final question to you both is this it for Ziggler? Is this finally him becoming the main event star that he should be? Because obviously he's had to hold hands since he won the Survivor Series with John Cena very, very closely.
Go on, Paul. You can go first.
I would like to think it is. Yeah, I think it's been a long time coming. He's put over so many people that he's worked with, and they've all gone on to bigger and better things. So I think it's finally time that they've realised like they can't just keep using him to job and put all these other people over. I think it's time that he deserves that main event spot. But like I said before, there is so many guys that also they haven't been around as long as Ziggler, but they also deserve to be at that level. So trying to fit them all in, I think that's going to be the big problem. But I think he definitely deserves it.
No, definitely. I mean, definitely for me. I don't know what you think, Delzinski.
I think it should be, but can you honestly say that you can see Ziggler beating a Brock Lesnar?
I can't see anyone beating Brock Lesnar.
This is what I mean.
He's being booked at the moment. I think it's going to take about 5 of them to prize it off him.
This is the biggest issue all the time.
I think Ziggler has matured into an absolutely brilliant superstar. He's great at everything, and you only had to see the way he was selling the beatings. Yeah, I mean, don't get me. He took an absolute pasting on that pay-per-view. But like you said, none of this gets sorted until we sort out Lesnar. And when I say sort out, I just mean take the belt off him. I don't want to fight with him.
I think that Seth Rollins has to take the belt off him.
For me, that's the only...
By hook or crook.
It has to be Cena win some way or other on whatever pay-per-view that happens, and it gets cashed in straight away. It's the only way I see it happening.
Yeah, that's the only way I can see it. They've made him so much of a dominant force now that it's hard to see anyone sort of beat him one-on-one in a fair match. I think it's got to come down to something like a match ending with like both opponents knocked out or something, and then sort of cash in to win it. That's the only way I can see it. But the question is whether or not they sort of hold off doing that until WrestleMania when his contract's up, because if he does lose it before then, what do you do with him?
I've heard that he wants to go back to UFC now.
Yeah, I've heard that as well, so I can definitely see that happening. It's just a case of they've got to get that title off him now, but they've made themselves a bit of a problem with how they've built him up.
I was going to say the only problem I'd have with Lesnar now, seeing how little we see him, does it make any difference if you take the title off him and then just don't use him for the remainder of his contract? Is that the anonymous world?
Yeah, but I've got, I've got to admit though, I like seeing Lesnar at a pay per view. I think him being this prize fighter works. When Lesnar's on the card, you know something's going to happen. It's like the beast is coming. He's about the only guy really from like, you know, you got like your Cena, who I'm not really interested in seeing that much. With the Lesnar, it's completely different. I think and it's the package with Lesnar. It's not just Lesnar. It's Heyman as well. It's the build that goes around him.
I completely agree.
It's everything.
But equally on the other side is that I don't want to think that Lesnar just comes up to get a payday and that's it. These other guys like Ziggler, like Cena, like your Rusevs, like, you know, all these guys that are coming through, they actually care about what they do. And it's not just a paycheck, I would imagine, to a lot of them. So if Lesnar doesn't want to be there week in, week out, like I've said all along, the WWE is only as strong as what they can book regularly. And if you do all this inconsistent booking and you've got a champion that's absent, you're always going to be in trouble.
I'm going to give you guys a Jerry Springer, yeah, and give you a final thought on this, right? How about right, going into WrestleMania, it's Lesnar versus Taker 2, yeah? Taker beats Lesnar, and then are we still able to have Rollins cash in at that point? Think so. Yes?
Just about.
So, Rollins cashes in, takes the belt off Taker. That's the perfect way. So you have The Undertaker take down Lesnar because he's come back, he's been stronger, you know, they can do all the flashing lights, you know, RIP, rest in peace, all that sort of stuff. And then Rollins then picks up the pieces after Taker's, you know, done everything that he can to get the belt off of Lesnar. I think that could work because of the actual thought process that there's someone like The Undertaker as a sort of guy that could get the belt back off him if he was fully strength and full powered. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe not.
I think so, yeah. I think that would work. I think that's kind of my dream scenario as well, because we all know that Taker's sort of coming to an end with his career, and he's bound to end it at WrestleMania if he hasn't already. So if he was to beat Lesnar in this rematch for the title, and maybe retire as the champion. But then the Seth Rollins thing, you could always have Taker go to leave, Rollins comes in, cashes it in, wins the title, and then that kind of leaves it open for maybe another match for the Undertaker a couple of years down the line against Rollins. So it's kind of open-ended, so he gets that sort of final match at WrestleMania, but there is still that possibility he could come back. Although at the same time, I still want to see Undertaker versus Sting, so I'm kind of against that. But I could definitely see Undertaker and Lesnar working at WrestleMania next year.
Yeah, I just sort of thinking in terms of how you could get the belt off him with somebody. I mean, there's only going to be a few guys that you can really do it with. Sting could be an option. It's guys like, it's the older guys really you're looking towards to take the belt off Lesnar to then give the belt to a younger guy, because it just doesn't feel like a younger guy can take that belt off Lesnar at the moment. It's got to be someone that's got some credibility, that's got the past behind the history. And it all sort of points again back to The Undertaker if he was full strength. And that sounds weird to say, but you get what I mean in terms of him being back to his best. And you could maybe say that last year he was weak, still recovering from injuries previously. And it's, you know, it just feels like that could work.
Yeah, I think the way he's been built up, what they'd ideally need someone like, if the Kurt Angle had sort of come in, he'd have been a good candidate. The Rock was also rumoured face him at WrestleMania, where you could see him going up against him because he is like a big name, he's a big force. So it gives you that thought where he could actually go ahead and win it, but at the same time it gets you back on the same problem because you've got another champion that's not going to be there.
I just think it's the perfect time as well, though, to take the belt from somebody either on the night or the night after, because they've been through such a battle and they've been weakened to the point where Rollins has the perfect opportunity to just come in and, you know, steal it.
Yeah.
No, I think that's what I think we spoke about this like the night after WrestleMania. Actually, would have been after. I think the last time we had Paul on for our WrestleMania predictions.
Yeah,
and I think we both actually suggested the Undertaker Lesnar rematch with and what I think what you just said with that build, and obviously we can have Cena happen maybe at the Rumble if it's not going to happen at TLC. Seth Rollins maybe with an absolute failed attempt to cash in, and at the end of the Rumble, Taker comes out, and you build that properly into Mania. You have Taker take that belt, like you guys were saying, and then, as I think JR used to always call him, the conscience of the WWE, basically give the belt back to McMahon the night after on Raw, and then them go into some kind of, you know, tournament of these up and coming young guys, the future of the WWE, and you basically press the reset button from there.
Yeah, something like that has to happen. You should be the GM.
I am the GM. Spend all my time here. That's why we always get all these confused Raws. Yeah,
I mean, all in all, there's a lot of confusion going on at the moment. I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen over the next few weeks going towards TLC. We don't know whether Sting's going to be there. We don't know whether Lesnar's going to be there. We don't know whether Triple H is going to be there. We know Cena will be there, though. But it's just going to be a really strange time. And I think we've just got to sort of see where everything goes, because I couldn't call it at the moment. So I think that brings us to a close, that we're all very confused by the WWE's booking. So, guys, I mean, Paul, do you want to do any sort of, shout-outs or any sort of promotion of your channel? Obviously, you've got a massive YouTube channel, so do you want to fire away?
Yeah, I'm just going to give a shout-out to everyone. And, head over to smacktalks.org. Check it out there, the website. youtube.com/smacktalks or twitter.com/smacknetwork.
Yes, make sure you do. Make sure you do get over there and check out Smack Talk's channel. Absolutely awesome. Get on the forum as well. And have you done your CAW yet? Have you got him sorted?
I've had a few issues with the face textures and changing colour.
So annoying.
Yeah, I've kind of turned completely orange now with a ginger beard, so it's not looking too good. I'm going to have to redo that, but it should be coming. I've got an interesting way that I think I'm going to put a take on it, so it'll be slightly different. But interesting.
You're going to be like the Tango Man. Just come out. You've been tango.
I'll try and get rid of the tango first, and then see where it sort of progresses from there.
Yeah. The face texture thing is a nightmare. But I mean, that's probably something for another commentary. But it's so frustrating. You apply a texture, and then boom, it changes colour once you've hit OK, and then you think you fixed it, and you go to play the match. Oh, here he comes again with a red face, orange face, whatever face. Weeds, you've got it all to come, mate, when you do your one. So, yeah.
Can't wait. Yeah, I was going to say, until next time, the pessimistic Professor Weeds is still running wireless, as Delzinski tells me I normally am. So I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, Paul, do you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
See you later, guys. Don't forget, let us know your comments in the comment section below. Let us know all your thoughts on today's Weed Talk. All that's left to be said is please rate, comment, and subscribe. This is Delzinski. As always, sign in out.